By the end of this video, you're going to have all 16 glyphs you need to travel to any portal address. No traveler RNG, no save editors, no cheats, just the main story. It's going to be the Artemis Path, plus the game tutorial, plus the main storyline, and we're going to walk you through all 8 missions you need to actually get all of your portals. I'm going to try to make it as short and sweet as possible so that I don't waste your time. I want to show you the fastest way to get all 16 portal glyphs plus the appropriate missions so you have the knowledge it takes in the game to be able to use those portals. Now, this will not show you how to get to purple star systems. That's going to have to be another video. So strap in with me and let's walk through exactly how to get all of your glyphs you need. All right, we are going to start a new game, and just to make it easy for everyone, I'm just going to pick normal mode instead of some kind of custom setup. I figure most people coming up on the 10-year anniversary of No Man's Sky are probably going to be playing normal mode. Some of you for the very first time on things like console. I'm also going to try to only spend a couple minutes maybe on each of the 8 missions you do. Otherwise, the video is going to be quite long. So the first mission is Awakenings. Everyone starts with Awakenings. If you have the tutorial on, which I do recommend if you haven't done it before, the tutorial is going to walk you through all kinds of things, everything you need to basically get started with the game. So we start with Awakenings. Everyone starts on a planet of some kind. You're going to have some kind of hazard type, and you're going to really get walked through how to play the game. You're going to understand that you've got information in the lower left-hand corner that shows you what kind of toxicity you're on for the planet you're on. You're going to start with a multi-tool. Some things about it are going to work. Some things you're going to have to fix. You're going to end up learning the interface. You're going to end up learning how to use your mining laser. You're going to end up repairing and using your scanner. Again, all the basics to get started, collecting resources, using your exosuit, using your starship, using your multi-tool. So the first of the game is going to walk you through basics. There's some basic material that you'll start at the very beginning. You'll end up selecting, finding, collecting ferrite dust to repair your multi-tool, for example. You'll start to collect things like carbon, oxygen, and sodium because you'll use those to do various repairs to build some of the first additions you need in order to move forward with the game. I don't want to give you all the information. I don't want to spoil it. But so again, suffice it to say, your first mission is Awakenings. It's your introduction to the game. It's going to show you how to do everything. And it's actually going to walk you through even getting your ship, flying up into space. You can visit your first space station, and you'll actually end up warping a couple of times. So you'll learn how to use the hyperdrive. You'll learn how to use the galaxy map. And all that is part of the very first mission. One more time, that's the Awakenings mission that you'll start with. And what you'll find is as you go through the first mission and you learn all the stuff you need to learn, the end of the Awakenings mission, once you warp to your second system, Awakenings is going to wrap up and you're going to automatically start Alone Amidst the Stars. Hey, just a few quick tips before we jump into Alone Amidst the Stars. Tip number 1, be sure and go to your log and keep an eye on the mission that you're working on. As you work through the first Awakenings mission and a lot of other missions as well, if you're not careful, when you start doing part of the Awakenings mission, it'll jump to a secondary mission related to your base computer. So there's a part of the Awakenings mission where you do the beginning of getting a base set up, using your base computer, etc. And if you're not careful, the game will select a secondary base computer mission automatically, and it'll keep having you do more for your base that is not necessary for the Awakenings mission. So check your log and make sure that you're always on Awakenings. Tip number 2, as you start traveling across systems, be sure and visit the space stations. Every time you go to a space station, go up top to the NPC that's on the far left side of the space station. He is the one selling the exosuit upgrades. Right beside him to the right is a unit, a portal thing, where you can buy an additional inventory slot for your exosuit every time you visit a space station for the first time. So just try to make a habit out of going to the space station and getting your inventory upgrade. It's not very expensive at all. I might add here, when you start visiting the anomaly, you can do the same thing the first time you visit the anomaly in every system. Go to the back of the anomaly where all the NPCs are, and in the back left corner by the, I think it is by the exosuit NPC there as well, there's a little unit or portal, whatever, right beside him to the right, where you can also buy an additional inventory slot. So every new space system you go to, between the space station and the anomaly, you can increase your exosuit inventory by 2 slots. Okay, to close out the first mission, Awakenings, you will arrive in a new system after hyperdriving a couple times. You will end up getting some instructions to find and scan a crashed ship marker. So you will locate the ship, you will repair the distress beacon, you will of course pick up any material you can while you're there. You're always looking to collect any material that you can find anywhere. Especially, it's good practice now in normal mode, so that when you're playing a more hardcore survival mode, you've got the muscle memory built and you're collecting everything you can. So as soon as you scan the distress beacon, Awakenings automatically turns into Alone Amidst the Stars. This is the second mission. This is where you find the crash ship marker, you repair the beacon, and you finally start to actually contact and interact with Artemis, who this whole storyline is about. So you contact Artemis, you have conversations with him, you basically follow the quest line. I'm not going to give you all the details of it. Again, just focus on Alone Amidst the Stars as you travel across systems. Be sure and take advantage of increasing your inventory as you visit space stations, as you visit the anomaly, all that kind of stuff. As you follow the storyline, you learn more about Artemis, you go to different places, and I hope as you are going to these different places, you are really stopping to smell the roses, enjoy the variety of the planets that you visit. The game is just, it looks so beautiful. It's just such a great game. But anyway, the Alone Amidst the Stars segment of the storyline ends rather abruptly when your conversation with Artemis ends kind of strangely. The Artemis communication kind of goes quiet, and that's the end of Alone Amidst the Stars, and it becomes the third stage of this storyline, which is Ghosts in the Machine. In Ghosts in the Machine, the third segment of this series, we are tracking down Apollo, a second mysterious contact. You'll share your data logs, you'll agree to investigate the link between portals and sentinels, you'll learn more about Apollo, you'll spend more time in the anomaly talking to Polo and Nada, so you'll learn the personality differences and the difference in philosophy between what Apollo talks about and what Artemis talks about. Near the end of the Ghosts in the Machine segment, you will have to feed, euthanize, or leave a creature alone. It doesn't lock you in or out of any glyphs either way, but it's one of the just kind of interesting choices that you get to make throughout the various missions. And then heads up, when you do near the end of the Ghosts in the Machine series, There is a choice you make that triggers a 3-star wanted level that calls a lot of sentinels, so don't panic if sentinels do show up afterward. It's actually not that hard to take care of at this point in the game. And then as you go through and finish up Ghosts in the Machine, it's going to wrap up and turn into segment 4 of the series, which is A Leap in the Dark. This is a big one. A Leap in the Dark is where the game teaches you how to activate and use portals. Technically, before you've completed this mission series, you can find transparent travelers in space stations and even on some planets, and you can collect potentially some glyphs, but you can't do anything with them yet because you haven't gone through enough of the main missions that you know how to actually use portals. So A Leap in the Dark unlocks matters even before you have all 16 glyphs. You actually learn how to start using portals. So portals exist on basically every planet. There's one per planet. Sometimes they're hard to find. There are things you can do to make it easier to find them. Yes, there's some cheats. Yes, you can do some save editor stuff. Yes, you can take advantage of some bases and things that players have created that allow you to go to certain bases and certain systems and collect at least the first 2 glyphs. Yes, there's ways you can select certain missions as part of the anomaly once you get that far, and those missions you can rerun to give you portal glyphs. But we're not doing any of that. We're doing the main series. We're playing the game, doing the tutorial, learning all the storyline stuff, and that's why we're at A Leap in the Dark. So follow the A Leap in the Dark storyline, learn how to use portals, and then you'll get to the next segment of the mission where you actually start to meet travelers and get glyphs as a formal part of the main mission line. That next mission, segment 5 in the Artemis mission series, is the First Traveler. Here you'll meet your first traveler, the strange alien NPCs tied to the glyph lore. This is the most story lore setup that you'll have in the game, so you should really pay attention to the dialogue because it's really interesting. It really makes for, a major part of the overall lore of the entire game. It sets up why glyphs matter in addition to how they're used. So go through the First Traveler, learn about the glyphs themselves, and when you get to the end of the First Traveler, segment 5, it will lead into the 6th segment, Patterns in Time. All right, I got to be honest with you. The 6th segment, Patterns in Time, is probably one of the slowest parts of this Artemis mission series to get all 16 glyphs. Patterns in Time basically asks you to build reputation with a local race by completing guild missions from mission boards at space stations. So I just want to set expectations here. This can take some real play time depending on what missions are available, which ones you choose. Don't worry if it feels like a little bit of a grind. It's the last gate before the glyphs start. And then here's a little pro tip for you. Any method of gaining standing with that race counts, not just board missions, but board missions are definitely the most direct. So follow the quest line, do board missions, try to make sure you're selecting ones that are building rep with the local race. And when you finally finish this probably slowest part of the mission series, once your standing hits the required level, the Patterns in Time mission resolves and you get to 1616, the moment we've been finally building to, where we start collecting all of our glyphs. Okay, segment 7, 1616, the mission that gives you all 16 glyphs. First, you'll reconnect with Null and Apollo through a hollow terminus. Then you'll have a long conversation with the Atlas, pick whatever dialogue options you want. The outcome really is the same either way. After those conversations, here's the only thing that matters for glyphs. Every time you warp to a new system, you get one glyph and a short message. That's it. So just repeat that 16 times. It doesn't matter where you warp, just keep jumping system to system. A quick warning, do not try to fly toward the galactic core before you hit the 1616 mission segment. It does nothing useful really, and it can actually damage your exosuit and your ship. You'll learn a lot more of that as you start actually doing that. Just warp anywhere 16 times and let the counter climb. And at the end of the 1616 segment, the glyphs are complete and you're going to start the final piece of the Artemis mission series, the Purge. You have made it to the final 8th segment of the Artemis mission, the Purge. With all 16 glyphs, the Purge tasks you with reaching the center of the galaxy, the true endpoint of this storyline. To use the portal, you need to charge all 16 glyphs with materials. You've just learned how to do all that. After stepping through, your life support will drain fast. That's intentional. Just wait, the Atlas will pull you to safety. And then the final choice here is yours. You can reset the simulation for a new galaxy, or you can stay put. Either counts as completing the story. And that's New Beginnings. The Artemis Path is complete. You've got all 16 glyphs in your portal menu ready to use. Please remember, even though you have all of your portal glyphs now, you still can't get to purple star systems. In order to gain access to the drive you need, the hyperdrive, to get to purple star systems, you will need to complete the Artemis Path. So please remember that. Okay, so 8 missions, all the Artemis Path, 16 glyphs, no shortcuts, no cheating, no RNG. Walk through, learn the entire game as you get all your glyphs. I reminded you that that does not get you to purple star systems. You need to do the Apollo mission line to do that. I'll try to do a video on that as well. A couple little quick tips. A lot of people ask about Corvettes. Do I need to build a Corvette in order to get all my 16 glyphs? Is it any easier with a Corvette? Really, the answer is no. Corvettes are great once you're set up, but they don't help at all in terms of the tutorial and getting all your glyphs. So I wouldn't worry about it too soon. The real piece of advice is take your time and have fun. Play the game, see all the great things that it offers you. That is it. Hope you found it helpful. If you did, I'd love a like. I'd love a subscribe even more. Thank you. This is Anomaly John. Have fun out there.